You don't want to be driving around with a worn shifter, right? Since your shifter is the part that controls your gear changes, a worn one can lead to rough shifts, delayed response, or even gear slipping. In this video, we'll show you some practical ways to deal with a worn shifter, and finally say goodbye to the hassle. Let's get started. 1. Replace the shifter bushings. The first thing you can do is remove the center console or the shifter boot to access the shifter assembly underneath. Once it's exposed, inspect the rubber or plastic bushings and replace them with new ones, either OEM parts or upgraded aftermarket versions, like polyurethane bushings. These bushings can wear out, crack, or become loose, which causes excess play or wobble in the shifter. This makes your gear changes feel sloppy or less precise. Replacing them with fresh, tighter bushings helps eliminate that unwanted movement and restores a firmer, more accurate shifting feel, just like when the car was new. Now, replacement of bushings is relatively affordable, usually ranging from $15 to $50, depending on the type and brand. If you're hiring a mechanic, labor could add another $50 to $100, but many car owners can do this job themselves with basic tools. 2. Install a short throw or dual shear selector rod. Next, consider upgrading your stock selector rod to a short throw or dual shear selector rod, DSSR. These aftermarket rods create a more rigid connection by securing both sides of the linkage between the shifter and the transmission, reducing unwanted play and flex. Over time, the factory selector rod can wear out or develop slack, especially if it's made with soft bushings or thin metal. This results in side-to-side movement and a vague, disconnected shifting feel. A DSSR or short throw rod improves this by tightening up the linkage and offering more precise, responsive gear changes. It also reduces the distance you need to move the shifter, which makes shifting quicker and more direct, especially useful for performance or daily driving. Now, the part itself usually ranges from $60 to $150, depending on your car and the brand. Labor, if you're not installing it yourself, may cost another $50 to $100. 3. Replace the trunion, flexible joint, in the shift linkage. Another thing you can do is check the flexible trunion joint under the car. This joint is part of the shifter linkage that connects to the transmission. Over time, it can wear out, become loose, or start to crack. If it's damaged, remove it and replace it with a new bushing or a new joint assembly, depending on the extent of the wear. Replacing it helps tighten the connection between the shifter and the transmission, which makes shifting feel more solid and accurate again. A new trunion joint or bushing typically costs between $20 and $60, depending on your vehicle. If you have it replaced at a shop, labor can add another $50 to $100, depending on the location and the car model. Inspect and tighten shift linkage connections. The final thing on our list that you can do is check all the bolts, clamps, and pivot points along the shift linkage, from the shifter itself all the way to the transmission. Look for any parts that are loose, worn out, or damaged. If anything looks off, tighten the bolts or replace the parts if needed. Every part of the shift linkage plays a role in how the gear lever moves. Even a small amount of looseness at one connection point can cause extra movement in the shifter, making gear changes feel soft or sloppy. By making sure all parts are tight and secure, you help the entire linkage move smoothly and transfer motion more directly, which improves overall shift feel and response. So that's how it's done. It may seem simple, yes, but what's important is taking action. If you ignore a worn shifter, you'll end up dealing with frustrating gear changes, possible transmission strain, and a less enjoyable drive overall. The sooner you handle it, the better your driving experience will be. We hope you find this video helpful, and if you're dealing with some other problems with your car, let us know by leaving a comment below, and we'll assist that next here on Fix It. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.